Hi, beautiful people. What are we playing? Sly and the Family Stone. Everyday people. Because after all, we're just everyday people trying to figure it out, right? Well, today we have an everyday person who I'm going to introduce you to. And then he's going to come on at 2:30. So, yeah, you did the math right. So, you got to focus because he'll be here at 2:30. So, I am introducing a phenomenal man that a lot of these booth babies that are coming on, yay, Kona Dreaming here, they know. So, let me focus. I am honored to be introducing someone I've had on my wish list for over 2 years. Yep, that's true. Chef Jason Roberts. Now, by the book, he is a New Zealand native who lives in Sydney, internationally known chef, author of 3 cookbooks, TV personality including The Chew in the USA, brand ambassador of many brands. In addition, an athlete, an avid cyclist, whose mission among many is to fight childhood hunger. In 2014, he launched the Chef Cycle for No Kid Hungry. He has raised thousands and thousands of dollars over the years for No Kid Hungry, and he continues to be a great part of that charity. And people, if that wasn't enough, I mean, it's a full page. He's a father, a son, a friend, a teacher, a student, a mentor, a creator, my new favorite word, a creator, and a healer, and a lover of learning, curiosity, and kindness. So can I get an amen for that? Now, Chef, because I'm still kind of new at this, let me see if I can find you. Nope, I don't want to blow this. I have no request. So, and B is here from Australia. So, Chef, can you come out and come back in, and then I can bring you on and we can chat. We've got 11 people. 11 people. So I know it's 2:19, but I rushed through your bio, Chef, so that I could get to all the good questions. So there we go. Drum roll. Et voila. Et voila. Et voila. I love it when it works. I love it when it works.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Have you had your coffee yet?
Working on it.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for your time. I know you're really busy. I have some boots babies that are joining in and hopefully some new people. So I have some fun questions, and, if anyone has questions, let's see if we can get to them too. But we'll begin with my favorite 2 words, connection and community. Mm-hmm. That's how it began with me and you and many people. In the heart of the pandemic, I met you virtually. I live in New York, and I was drawn to your daily IG chat that you created on Good Day Neighbor. I was in a very dark place. I'm a diabetic, a new diabetic, and every day I was told if I get COVID, I'm going to die. I didn't leave the home much. I was stuck in New York, and I desperately needed community. In fact, I would say, Chef, I was starving for it. And there you were. And there you were. Through Isaac, because all roads lead to Isaac. It began with Isaac getting my peach torched, and then it followed with you. And I'm not going to cry yet, but I might. Anything can happen. Your daily chat on Good Day Neighbor are profound reason of how I survived. I
Oh,
truly mean that. And I honestly think that it was probably many people that felt that way. We were starving for community. I think we're both Aquarians. We like people. I had no people. I had no activity. I had my home. And I had you. And I had you. And I had Iger. So, chef, tell us what it was like in Australia for us, for the Americans who really don't know what it was like. I believe out of all the countries, you had the longest lockdown out of every country. So, what was it like in the first moment and months of the pandemic? And why did you create your Good Day Neighbor community, especially for the children?
well, let me just start off by thanking you so much for having me on here because hello to everyone who's tuning in. I see a lot of people here. Thank you. It does mean a lot, and in fact, I'm holding back the tears too. Just thinking of what that meant to you. I think I'm an empath. I think we all have the ability to be empathetic to someone else, and it's very, very important. And not just because of our star signs or day in the month and the time that we're born, but we all have that power. Um, Interesting, Dana, because I feel like I've always been a person of purpose, and the one word that resonates with me when it comes to living, we talk about life, we talk about death, we talk about experience. I used to think, well, our sole purpose is to have babies. Our sole purpose is then I think just to copulate, that fancy word for saying have babies. And then even making the bed this morning, which is also another purpose for me, getting up, having purpose, having a rhythm. I've realized, no, our sole purpose is to grow because not everyone will have a baby. A man can't have a baby. He can share in the experience of a baby and will never understand what it is to be a woman, but we can all grow. So I feel just thinking about doing this live with you today, what's happened in the moment for me is to realize our sole purpose is to grow, and everything that happens around us is a form of growth. Dying is a form of growth. It's that elevation to the metaphysical world. There is something to be learned by the person who's passing or going or dying. For us who are still here, there is something beautiful about being the person who is passing. When you let go and allow it to happen beautifully, life is magic, and it still is. And we think about the stresses of life and mortgages and bills and the shit that goes on. And COVID, a good example. Yes, what happened and why for me, what happened and what sparked G'day Neighbor. G'day Neighbor was about having purpose. I have a good friend of mine, and hopefully at some point we will reconnect as friends. Somewhere along the way we have our differences, and it sort of breaks my heart. Janie is a good friend, and I would love to reconnect with her. But we started this purely based on wanting to grow, having purpose. Well, what else are we going to do? We're going to hang out, do nothing. But why don't we share in our community? So to be honest, it happened very organically without being forced. I've cooked professionally for a long time, so I do food. I love doing television and live television. Our phone is now that platform. I just did what I was doing. So it did evolve. I've always felt the power of that empathy, though. I've always understood that if I can connect with one person, and I do see a lot of people here. I see Christy, and I think my good mate Tim, who might jump on at some point too. G'day,
Oh,
Timmy,
really?
community.
And
Tim's happy to
Billy,
jump on.
Billy's in the middle of Billy Riddick on here too. Oh,
Yeah,
there's
I will say.
Tim. Oh my God.
Yeah. Tim,
Yay.
I spoke to Tim, and when you're ready, we'll get Tim to jump on as well. But Tim and I, and you mentioned this community and connection. Tim talks to me about that all the time. Tim is 29 years old and has his own set of difficulties he works through. But if I just could repoint it out, and same with Billy. Oh my God, Billy will just really understand this. It is grow. We are here to grow. It doesn't matter what way you look at it. Our children, our knowledge, our letting go, our passing, everything is about growth. We need to honor that growth. And it doesn't matter what religion you are, if you're spiritual or not, it helps when you open yourself to empathy and realize that there is something else out there bigger than you and growing. That is the new word. I might even get a bloody tattoo that says grow on
Oh my
it.
God. Oh my God. I love it. I love it. Well, I'm a firm believer of tattoos, and I just got a new one. It's grateful in Tibetan. I have four tattoos that have four words that are important to me.
Yeah.
But oh my God, my sister is on. She's never on Instagram. Everyone give a shout out to Deborah, all the way in
Hi, Deborah.
Connecticut.
Uh,
But two
just
words,
kind
yeah.
of just quickly, I just want to point it out just quickly. We talked about G'day Neighbor and what it meant to me. And you know that my last year has been pretty tough. A number of deaths around me, but I do see my mum is here, Sharon Roberts is here, my auntie Judith Hesselwood is here. Judith is my father's sister. She is my only living auntie now. She is here, but I've now understood the importance of these connections. And who would have ever thought, I could have told you pre-COVID that, oh no, phones are no good for you. They're disconnecting people. They're making people antisocial. We pacify ourselves with it. But the power of this connection, true connections, the empathy exceeds. And if there is one thing that that has really helped me with my dad's death, is that knowing that true energy really exists, even in front of this screen right now. There is something bigger and more powerful than us. And I know my dad wasn't a spiritual person. Well, he may have been spiritual, but he definitely wasn't a religious. He called religious people God botherers.
Oh my God.
But I know his energy is endless, endless, everywhere, all the time. So that is the power of what's going on right now for me. And I don't claim to be anything special. I just claim to be my mum's son. Love you, mum.
We love you, Mom, and we love you for creating this phenomenal man. I don't know if you heard my intro. I do an intro song and an exit, and it was people every day, Sly and the Family Stallone. We're all regular people. We all are born in as regular people, and it's up to us to figure out which direction we want to take. But two words before I go into the next question. You mentioned organic and grow, which
Yep.
I love.
Yeah.
This little chatting thing I'm doing is completely organic,
Yeah.
and I'm liking it. And I don't
Yeah.
want to label it, but I like it, and I'm grateful for it. And
Mm.
I also think grow. I won't lie, Jason. I spent many hours watching a lot of TV in the beginning of the pandemic. That was
Mm.
my guilty pleasure. That was what numbed me out and
Mm.
literally got me through the day so I could go to bed and wake up and go back to the TV after I torched and before you.
Mm.
And I didn't grow. I basically got through it. And I'm a firm believer that if we don't every day find a way, even a tiny way to grow, a part of us will die, and I don't mean actually die, but I mean we will not we will not be able to be the people who I believe we all can be.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm
Yeah.
with you. Diana, just quickly, there are some incredible people who are jumping on, and I just noticed you, Kai. I saw my friend Kai, my mate Mook's son Kai is here, and at some point we would love to have a chat about staying creative, I guess, in that creative flow sort of thing. And I think that has been one of my
Creative is
go-to
yep,
creative.
I can move creative. It's one of the
Yeah,
questions. I can move it
Timmy.
earlier if you'd like.
Well, Timmy is one of those too, and I'd say Timmy, you should send in a request. I'd love to have Tim on here. But organic and grow. Organic for me, I think in the English vocabulary, or does it in many vocabularies, we don't have the right words to associate certain feelings. And organic, to me, we think organic. Sometimes we just think, well, it means two things. Organic, the way maybe the way some things grow is organic. but what really is organic? If the wind's blowing this way and this guy's using a pesticide and it blows over there, what really is organic? But this idea of allowing something to happen in the moment, to me, is organic. Grow is just, to me now, is sole purpose, and find the growth phase in everything. You mentioned that, watching movies every day was your thing. Well, I don't have a TV, but I do have a computer screen and I have iTunes and I can watch that. I think that's quite normal, Diana. I think we can lean into anything. I see, even the word avoidance is not the right word. To avoid dealing with something in the moment, whether it's sex, drugs, alcohol, food was an avoidant for me, which is interesting because I love to cook and I love to share, and I think what I create based around food. TV, something that's mindless, something that stimulates you in the moment, that takes you away from dealing with the shit that's happening in the moment. That's the way
Yeah.
that's the way I look at it. And we've all been that person, and I can still do that person. But I also, but even work can be avoidance. I think my last year, and I'm just trying to pull myself out of this now, is to stop working. When you're working, what am I working towards? How am I growing? What am I working towards? Sure, I can put money in my bank account, but at the end of the day, the bank can close your bloody bank account. And I found that out. Banks can do whatever they want. We need to grow. We need to evolve. And everyone understands it. Yeah, they're just coping. Sean, you're right. It's just a coping mechanism. So at
Yeah,
some point,
Sean,
you
you.
need to start honoring yourself. You need to honor this consistently.
Tim, I see you there. I haven't officially met you. I've watched you play. So if you want to put in a request, we'll bring you on and continue the chat. So just
Yeah.
hit that button or come out and come in, and I'll bring you on. So I am going to get to the creativity question, but this next question is something very near and dear to my heart, and I believe to you too. 3 words. I love words: heal, evolve, and teach.
Yep.
So you, Jason, have been, and if you see him, come on, just let me know. You have been beautifully honest and vulnerable with all of your followers and friends, especially in the hardest moments, like the loss of your father, your former fiance, and most importantly, your father. And yet you walked us through the journey that you went through. And most importantly, your healing process, or you shared parts of your healing process with all of us, which personally I am so grateful for, because I lost my father, who lived in Spain in 2020, and he was one of the dearest people in my life. So you helped me. You helped me, and you helped many, I'm sure. As a viewer, it looks like your love for learning, doing, and teaching pottery was a huge gift in your healing process. So tell us why healing and creating with your hands means so much to you.
Wow. I'm just quickly going to point out, you're so right. I did, to lose my dad, who was never really my dad until the last 2 months of his life. He was my father. And then he became my dad. He taught me a lot in that last 2 months, and gratefully, because he made that whole transition a lot easier. Yes, and then Kylie, which is strange for me because Kylie and our relationship was so long ago, but there was something maybe unspoken, unsaid. We'd miscarried a couple of times. Well, she had miscarried a couple of times. And so maybe I don't know, that was a tough one. But then I lost my auntie Wendy, my dad's sister. I lost my auntie Janina. I lost my good mate Tom. I lost a good friend Adrian a week ago. I'm going to his funeral this afternoon. So we didn't really lose these people. Their stories just ended, and now we'll keep them alive. So healing, knowledge, teaching. My healing will come through teaching, and I think that sorry, I forgot a frog in my throat just to break it up. When I started maybe this makes sense to you. When I started my cooking career, and to all the other young chefs and cooks who are out there, when you lean into learning, You're leaning in not to just evolving and building knowledge, you're leaning into making mistakes. When you make mistakes in that moment, you learn from your mistakes. Or were they ever really mistakes? You are just learning, you are growing, you're building knowledge. And through that, you evolve. So that's how those three words, to me, they're connected. Maybe we need one word. The English language, there's not enough words. We need another word and then it is about being in the moment. So to take that philosophy, that's how this happened. That's how this happened. That's how pottery happens. You are in the moment. You are using hands in the moment. Is that 10? You are in the moment.
Yeah.
You are in the moment. You are using your hands, and multiple things are happening. You could have 10 teachers teach you 10 different ways, but ultimately you're learning how to honor your own hands. So when it came to death, and no one prepares you for this. Stories prepare you a little bit, but no one prepares you for what you're about to learn individually. So I realized in the moment, and there were multiple deaths prior to my dad's death. And when he delivered his news, it was, well, do you want the bad news or do you want the sugar-coated news? I said, well, just give me the bad news. And the bad news was, well, I've got 2 months to live. And I said, well, how the fuck are you going to sugarcoat that? So
no way getting around that.
You don't, but that was my dad's humor. And we have actually my whole family, and my mum's here, and we have the same humor. And many of you probably have the same humor. You want other people to laugh, and you want other people to feel good about themselves. And that is a source of empathy. And that's what I did love about my dad. He did empathize with a lot of people. So point being, Dana, you take something on board in the moment, you give yourself the ability to learn and grow from it. And I had always had a hard time with not just understanding death, but really death wasn't palatable for me. I dealt with it. I had to view a body once. I'd seen dead people. God, we watch enough death on television, way too much death on television. So we are slightly desensitized. But when it's close and it's family and it's a relationship, then it can be quite tricky. So I thought to myself in that moment, without even really thinking about it, I saw the opportunity. The opportunity was to learn about death. The opportunity was to become a better teacher for my own son. That's all I wanted from this. And I didn't realize how important these conversations were, but I can tell you, I was struggling. I was struggling in those moments because my dad wasn't easy to deal with in his final stages, in his ending. It was never easy, but I knew that there was no one else to do it. It was a gifted responsibility. Sucked in the moment, but I'm grateful that I can be here now 10 months and a few days later. That I was a blessing. It wasn't years and years, but that transition, the understanding that I now have, the more empathy I have for other people now, these conversations, this is my purpose. It doesn't matter what way. It doesn't matter about the cooking, the pottery, the videos that I make. My purpose is to grow, and my purpose is to help other people grow. I'm just a big old watering can.
I'm trying to, Tim, I'm trying to bring you in, but for some reason it's not happening. So don't give up. Keep on requesting and we'll bring you on. It'll connect when it's meant to connect. I think you had 10-month period where you were there as your caregiver for your father. I think I went to Spain. I packed up my little New York life and I went for a month, not knowing what it would look like. I left my job and my husband, and I went because we thought we were going to lose him when I went, and I went to say goodbye. And he didn't die. He took my chi, and I nearly died. But it was a profound experience that I learned so much. And you talk about like the range of emotions you go through with my dad, it was deep love to real anger, like wanted to choke him, to fear, to everything. And I think it takes a real courage to be able to walk through that chapter of someone's life that you love when you know they're going to die. It's not easy. So I commend you for that. And let's see if Tim's going to come on. But it's something that I think will be in your heart forever. And yeah, I really do.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just noticing a lot of great people here, Mum. And you're right. When my dad got his diagnosis, it was really the first time myself, my mum, and my father actually had a three-way conversation together. It was powerful, and I was grateful that my mum was there. It was hard being in the moment. You're right. And if anyone's ever struggled with losing someone, or anyone's going through losing someone, when someone's given their diagnosis and their life is cut short, they're going to be angry. My dad was angry for 2 months, and there was probably two times maybe where drugs had really kicked in or drugs had really not been working, where my dad broke down, and I never saw him cry until these moments. And those 2 moments, they were short-lived, but he cried and said, "I should never have had you in this situation. You never want that for your children." But he didn't realize in the moment it was my gift. And I will be completely honest with you. There were many times where I wanted to take my dad out. I didn't want him to live. I was tired of his shit. I was sick and tired of the way he was treating me. But the empathy was there, because you only have one dad. I had to make the most of all that time. You know, we had to get him through. We had to get him through to the end. But there's a lot of stuff that happens at the end of life, and if you don't have your things sorted out, your will, your in Australia, you know, your superannuation, the government trims a lot of the cream off this, and it doesn't get passed down. I was sort of lucky. I am my father's only son. There was no one else to deal with it, so I was the executor of his will, and I had to deal with that. So I'm grateful he hung around long enough to get that done. That wasn't easy, but I tell you what, I look at my dad faced his death so bravely, and there was one guy who when we held a couple of little memorial services, who used the word brave, and never really thought of brave, you know. But then it's the only word I think of now, is the way he handled that. But the day that he died, sorry, 2 days prior to him dying, he chose to be euthanized. We don't euthanize in this country, but he was euthanized over a couple of days.
I wish we did, but that's another topic. Yeah.
Well, we do now. We'll just say we do here in Australia. It's called voluntary assisted death, and thank goodness it's here for those who are terminally ill, because my dad was treated very unfairly, and you wouldn't treat an animal like that. You know, euthanasia takes 3 minutes and 15 seconds. This took 2 days, and it was shit to watch. So, anyway, you're right. That is another story. That is my grief. But he is. Yeah. But in all honesty, Dinah, it has been a true gift to be there, and a blessing to help someone. But this is the gift.
And for you to be able to share it with everyone who's writing such beautiful comments. You know, I did have a friend in New York who went to California. He was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and he died within 2 months. But he did choose to do that. I believe in Colorado, that is something that is available, and that is another complication. But it is a gift that you were able to be with your dad. It's a gift that I could be with my dad, and it's a gift that you can share with all of us what it was like. So, creativity. And Tim, don't give up on me. I think the universe doesn't want you to come on yet, but I don't give up. Keep on trying to get in. So, creativity, as a chef and a potterer, a writer and a creator, can you share with people who feel like they have no creative spark? Where do they even begin? For example, in a kitchen, that can actually be terrifying for some people.
Yep. Dana, I think creative outlets are things that you just lean into. They're like addictions. You just lean into them when it serves you, sort of thing. But what I will tell you, and the most powerful thing, is your hand. My final image of my father is an
I
image
know.
of our hands together. And he was dead at that point, and I stuck my hand in his, and I took a picture, and I saw
I
the
love that
beauty in it.
picture.
I saw the beauty in it because that was my job for the last, 4 hours of his life was to hold his hand. And so I just think just realizing you have two hands or one hand, or hopefully how many hands you have, that your hands is where it starts and they are the true gift. And it's, if you think about it for a second, and it is that final image of something, that hands are so bloody powerful. If you're stifled, because I know that we talk about, and I don't know enough about this, but we talk about the brain. One side is for those who are intellects, the other is for creatives. But I think somehow in the schooling system that we separated those, and that we have the ability to use both. And maybe some of us aren't creative because it was stifled out of us when we were younger. We were told we couldn't do something, or there was never that creative time. But I find a lot of people that I know and good friends that I know, they seem to find this creative outlet when they're older. And look, even my mum started painting, and I'm like, what?
Oh, I
Beautiful,
love that.
beautiful, beautiful watercolors. Mum's had to go at the pottery. My concern was her because she had some nerve damage in her neck that could impinge on her back. But she's found a creative outlet. But I can tell you, it doesn't matter what it is. Cooking, there's some technical sides to cooking, and once you know the basics, then you can do anything. I've reached the point in cooking now where I'm nothing baffles me. Like, it's not something, I'm in the moment. I'm constantly in the moment with food. It's just that food we need is energy. Pottery. What happened for me is knowing that when you cook something, when something doesn't work, you learn from it and you evolve because of it and through it. So any creative outlet, you could pick up any creative outlet. So I would say, so anyone who's struggling creatively is try and resort back to an early childhood moment of something you love doing, and just pick it up. Grab a pencil. Doesn't even a coloring pencil, and whether you color within the lines or outside the lines, it doesn't matter. But pick up something and allow it to take you away. It becomes, I think, we talk about the things that we use as avoidance tools: drugs, sex, alcohol, food, mindless TV, all those things. But something creative can do the same thing. And in fact, I believe it's healing. I think you're staying creative, but you're not living in your head while you're doing it. In fact, you're turning your head off, and your soul and everything else takes over. So I think it's a very powerful and important place for us to dwell. We live too much in our head. Men live in their head. As we get older, we worry about hair loss, and we worry about the size of our bodies and what we look like in bed and what we don't look like in bed, and we don't have a partner, and then we don't have relationships, and now we've got to look for it online. It's this vicious cycle of shit. Whereas if we had just stayed creative and looked after our minds, I think the rest would evolve beautifully. So that place is an important place for us to dwell, and I'd love to encourage anyone who's not feeling creative, just be creative. Just start. Just take a pencil and color something in. Something will happen. Something will evolve. I just know it.
I broke my ankle. I was on my bike 4 years ago and got hit by a rollerblader that cut me off and kept on riding. And I broke my ankle, and yeah, real motherfucker. Anyway, and my girlfriend, sorry, I hope I don't get arrested on Instagram, but whatever. But he kept on riding. But my girlfriend brought me a coloring book. And as a child, I never actually had a coloring book. And she brought me the pencils and everything. And I thought, I don't know how to do this. And I just did it. And the other thing, I coach as a chef. I'm a health coach, and I work with men who have diabetes. And a lot of them say, I can't cook. And you know the first thing I tell them to do? Go in the kitchen and burn something. Just burn something. Because then it's like you ripped off the Band-Aid. You can only go up from there. I think a lot of people are so afraid, what if I don't do it right or whatever? Just do it, and if it burns, you're not going to die. You're going to throw it out, and you're going to start again. And I think a lot of the fear just kind of gets in the way, and they just say, I can't do it, I'll order in. But just do it and let it fail. Because the only thing that,
I sort of, I just hope if you're burning something, it's just not yourself. Um, I,
Well, yeah.
it's the same. It's the same with anything in the kitchen, where you burn something, whether it is yourself or it is the food. But hopefully, you only do it once, and you learn where you use less heat next time. If you cut yourself, uh, hold your knife differently, or don't get so close to the knife. But there's this power in working around the fire and cooking on an open fire for me at the moment that I think is very, very powerful. The closer you get, the hotter it gets, sort of thing. So there are these little life lessons, and on a basic level, if the sharp knife, if you get too close to it, it will cut you one day. But it's knowing that, finding that medium, and in any creative outlet, it is getting close enough without it destroying you too, because
Right.
even a creative outlet can become an addiction too. You've got to know when to let it go, and if you force a creative outlet, you'll end up hating it, and it'll end up destroying you, and you'll look for other avoidance tools. And it's a bummer that we can't get Tim on here, because I can tell you, Tim, let me tell you what I will tell you what Tim would have said
Tim,
anyway.
don't give up. Keep on trying. I
Tim and
mean,
I,
sometimes it's just the universe is saying no, Tim, but I want Tim. You want Tim. We all want
we
Tim. Maybe
we
if we
love a
all
good
cheer
dose,
for
Tim.
Tim.
Um, Tim and I are a 20-year age gap, but I see a lot of myself in who Tim is now. But I just think Tim has his own set of things that he goes through, but is an incredible creative. But I've had these conversations with Tim recently, and I'm like, Tim, you're being lazy. Tim's music will grow and evolve, but Tim reaches people without realizing he reaches people, and he reached me in whatever capacity it was. But he he, like any of my friends, is someone who holds a lot of empathy, but he has more empathy and more love. He asks the right questions. If there's one person in my world who's growing the most at the moment, it's Tim. And I'm enamored by that. I love watching someone grow. I mean, as much as you hate seeing someone being hurt from their own mistakes, but he's leaning into them and he's growing. So he writes about them. He's looking for creative outlets and stuff like that. But at some point, it may not be today, but at some point we'll have a conversation with him, and you'll see that, and you'll see the power of our relationship and what it is for someone who's I'm gonna say older, but me, and someone who's younger like him. How you grow together, and age doesn't define us, but the amount of energy we pour into the world actually can.
Why, that needs to be on a t-shirt.
Yep, right there. Hey,
Right
I'll
there.
share. Diane, I'm going to share something. I'm going to share something with you. Not a lot of you would actually know this, but and I probably, and to be honest, I'm going to have to jump off in 10 minutes because I got to go make some
Okay.
stuff. But just to let you know, this thing around my neck here, this what would you call it, like a neckerchief or something? Um,
Yeah.
when my, I wear it quite often, and it's summer now, and it's not because I'm hiding any love bites or anything like that. I It's interesting because I only thought about this morning as well. I wear it, and I wear it consistently when I'm training or when I'm doing anything. I'll wear it. It's a pacifier for me. I when my dad was sick, I would go hiking, and where I would hike, there was a trail, and it was hot, and so there were a lot of snakes around. I used to carry this around because if I got bitten on the leg or the ankle or something, I'd have something to tie it off, or like a tourniquet, because it was hot and didn't really. I was just wearing a pair of shorts, shoes, and socks, sort of thing. But I will take that. It has now become a pacifier, and I will go to leave the house sometimes, and I think, oh, I feel it's become a thing for me. I don't wear it all the time, but I'm very in touch. Like, it's a thing for me. It was something that my dad knew that I used to wear. So it's weird. It's a pacifier. For anyone who has seen it, I wear it because it's a pacifier. It may not be the most fashionable thing, but it's become my thing. Like a phone is sometimes a pacifier. This has been a pacifier for me.
Did your father have one too?
Mm-mm. No, he probably would have said, "God, boy, that looks gay."
Um, all right. Well, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I love it. I think it's really hot. I like it. I like it. All right.
Right.
So we're going to wrap up and giving back.
Yeah.
Philanthropy is a huge part of who you are and giving back, especially around childhood hunger and your work with No Kid Hungry.
Yeah.
Why that particular charity? What drew you to them? And why do you think the act of giving back is such a vital role for all of us to believe in?
Hey, that's a really good. Hey, Donna, that's a really good question because there's an opportunity to share who I am really through that question too. And I think we all need to feel safe. We all need to feel like there's someone in our corner. My true understanding of love now is just safety. If I say to you, I love you, what I'm saying to you is, I feel safe.
I feel safe.
I
Yeah.
feel safe. I feel safe. And it's like, I'm in your corner now. I feel safe. We're in each other's corner. And sometimes it's really hard to be in your own corner. So I'd signed to the Chew, and I'm traveling around the country doing outside stories with ABC America. And anyway, this opportunity come up. You get these opportunities to go to different events. And anyway, there's an event for No Kid Hungry. Billy Shaw, the co-founder of No Kid Hungry and a huge part of Share Our Strength, was there. And I love to go to some of these talks. Chefs are always involved in them because they're producing food to raise money and awareness, right? And so Jeff Bridges, the dude, he was there. He's also one of the ambassadors and one of the big speakers for No Kid Hungry. He was there. It was a forum, probably of about 200 or 300 people. They talked about what they're doing, their initiatives, the advocating on Capitol Hill, where the money's going. They were talking. I think at the time they were talking about the stamp bill and how 43 millions rely on food stamps, and anyway, so it's always been a big understanding for me. Is like, yes, so I understand raising money, but how do we teach people to feed themselves? So it was a Q&A. I got to put my hand up. I asked the question. I said, so I get that we're raising money to create food, and maybe the food choices, maybe, I don't know. Does a milk and a muffin and a piece of fruit really account for a meal? And so I begged the question. So I understand if I give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, but if I teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. So I asked the question, what are we doing to teach people to look after themselves too? That, to me, that's the real big lesson. And Jeff Bridges got up and he answered. He said, well, we're actually implementing school garden programs and we're educating kids on the growth of or growing their own sort of thing. And I thought, well, that was cool. And Jeff Bridges answered my question. That's even cooler. So I was engaged from the get-go because I thought someone just saw me and someone heard me, someone answered me, someone's in my corner. And so it was a little spark. And I thought, I can give to this. I can add to the value of this. I see growth, not just for kids who are going hungry or the 1 in 5 kids who are turning up to school without a breakfast, but I saw growth for myself. So it works two ways, and I think it's okay to allow growth to come in on all levels. And it's sometimes we look at the word opportunistic or someone who sees opportunity. I sometimes see, sometimes people will look at it and go, okay, that person's being an opportunist and they're taking. But when it's a genuine, empathetic, driven opportunity for both sides, it made sense. So anyway, I saw it as an opportunity. I started doing a couple of dinners and thought, I can do this better. I can do this bigger. And I thought, hey, if I ride my bike across America, people will throw money at me. And didn't quite work out like that. So I met with Debbie Shaw, Billy Shaw's sister. And there was the idea to pilot Chef Cycle was in the works. And before you know it, I'm riding from New York to DC with, I think, about a handful of other guys, a couple of good friends. And we raised 25,000, and we saw the opportunity that and the growth in this, and that they threw some money into it. And I think to date, we've probably raised in the last 8 years probably close to $8-9 million. And Isaac has been a big part of this.
1.5 million with the Booth baby and following. Yep.
Yeah. So when you have a belief and you have one person who believes in you, you can do anything. The first person that needs to believe in you is yourself. Back you.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you. And Tim, if you're still here, mate, and Tim and I, we talk about this idea of love and what it is, and it really is acceptance and feeling safe and what have you. But when you back yourself, that's this. It's not the only person, because sometimes that one other person, that's the bit that gets you going. Oh yeah, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. And sometimes that's your ego talking. But when you have one other person who actually genuinely believes in you, and then you feel it, you are so powerful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
The possibilities are endless. They really are.
Sure
I
are.
know you have to run, but not only do I want to thank you and everyone here, we're also grateful. You are very busy. You have a lot of amazing projects and collaborations. So share with us if you want to. What do you think 2023 is looking like, or what do you want to share? And are you ever coming to the US or Canada? The booth babies want to know.
Um, uh, Look, well, at the moment, I know we got Tasting Australia in January, February, March, in late April, early May. I've been in conversation with Chef Cycle, and they would like me to come back out. And I'm not sure what coast we're on, but if I come back to the States, you will certainly know about. I definitely want to go spend some time with Billy Ritter, one of my favorite ceramicists there in
All
Cleveland,
right, we'll all
Ohio. I
go to
think it's still in
Billy.
Cleveland. We
Yep,
may
we'll
all
all
end
go
up
to
in the
Cleveland.
we may all end up in the Midwest. America is a big part of my life. I have a storage facility in Culver City, which has been there since 2008, which I'm deeply embarrassed about. I would like to get out. There's a whole lot of beautiful old copper cookware and stuff, but like it's weird how much money I've sunk into keeping that stuff. But 2023, it almost feels like a new beginning. I can't even describe it. Look, in all honesty, we started this off. What happened what was the beginning of COVID like for me? I remember, a couple of jobs dropping off, like the work in Chicago and New York and stuff like that. And then I realized, and I think we all thought, this will blow over in a week. It's just a few days. We'll get through this. And here we are. What are we, 3 years down the track almost, right? Um, I love the fact that I'm walking into 2023 blind, but I'm in love with the word grow and community and empathy. And I have a community of people like 90s Ray and Emma and anyone who's here, Bianca, Andy Morgan, Sally, all the Boost babies, my mom, Timmy. I love you, brother. Timmy and I are going to do some incredible stuff. Actually, Tim and I, and together on our own little fitness journey too. So we want to encourage
Are
others.
you going to write music together, you and Tim?
Yes, we've been writing, but I think Tim's in a point of evolution at the moment, and so I feel like there's some new music's gonna come. We all need to grow from a place, and I think he's ready to grow. Um, but I would just love to encourage that leading into next year. Don't think of it as timing, and don't wait till 2023. Just make changes now. I want to quickly point out. I think Rosemary may have just jumped on right now. Rosemary is a longtime friend, who I don't know if she still lives up there in Maine, but love you, Rosemary, and I got to
I
meet her
think
children, her
I've
grandchildren.
seen you interview her before. Yeah.
Yeah, and she actually jumped on during one of the lives when my dad was dying, and it was really powerful for me. And you don't realize in the moment some of the nuggets of wisdom people have for you. It can be so powerful, but also help you grow.
My
Deborah,
sister. Yeah, that's my sister.
okay, so you'll have to tag Tim in this, then we'll get him next time.
Will you just
Just
tell for the people who have been waiting half an hour for Tim to come on who Tim is or who he means to you so that we all know
this
that
is
we have a little bit of Tim?
this is Tim. This is Tiny Tim. No, Tim is a good friend of mine, and we connected through a platform called Perfectly Imperfect. In fact, we connected through a platform that was based around poor mental health, I guess, and the disconnection. And we rose above what the platform was and actually become mates, and we've become very supportive of each other. Um, Tim is just, I can't even describe Tim. Tim is this energized young ball of frustrated goodness. He's ready to sprout, and the best is yet to come for Tim. I can't. He's a young man with a heart full of energy and gold and empathy for people. He doesn't see it. Isn't it weird when people don't see their own goodness and truth? It's Powerful. Woo.
And Major, the beautiful Major just jumped on. If you want to just share with us
Oh,
Major your relationship with Major over the pandemic.
oh, I don't know. Major, do you want to? Can we send Major just a little bit of a request? I think if Major's not in her pajamas still, or she's
Maybe we
if
can
she's
get Major on. I know
if she's
Christy's here. So, yeah, Christy or
if she
Major, see if you can jump on. Yeah.
if she's allowed to, and if she can't, then I can share that with you. Major and I are great friends, but it's no different to the relationship I have with Tim. We see each other and we grow together, and age is no. We create the gap through age, but we're here to grow. We're here to share our knowledge. And Major may or may not know this, but the growth that I've had because of our friendship is powerful. You Major is someone that is in my corner, and I am someone that is in Major's corner. That remember I was saying that extra person is really, really powerful. And then there is I just can't. You can't replace. You can't. Oh, it's powerful when you have someone who's just youthful and gets it. And when they there she is. Whoa.
I know. I don't know what it is. I'm only three guests can be in your room, and I only have you two. So, Major or Tim, one of you can come on.
Hey,
Uh,
Major.
Hi.
Major,
invite.
Did you just wake up?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. So Diana, can you see Major down there or not? She's here.
I can, but sometimes social media is what it is. Um,
But
if you want, we'll get
she's
off
he-
and you
oh,
can
oh,
go live. You want to do that for a quick
oh no.
5 minutes?
Oh, okay, no, she was here. No, that's okay. Um,
No,
but anyway,
you gotta
hi
go.
Major. Hi, she was here. I think she's gone. Bye, Major. It was nice to see you. But Major and I have an incredibly powerful relationship. It's not just a relationship I have with Major. It's Major's family, her mom, her dad, her sister, her brother, her two puppies now. And I haven't spoken to Major in a while because I've kept myself pretty busy. But g'day neighbor. We'll be making a comeback absolutely, because it's powerful, and these conversations make it powerful.
And for people who don't know, how old is Major?
Major's 479. I don't know.
She looked pretty good for 479.
No, Major, you 10 or 11? I think Major's 11 now. There's so, I apologize if
11.
I
I
forgot.
think she's 11. Yeah.
Yeah,
She just had a birthday.
11. Sorry, Major, because Nesta's 10. This is, I get to know all the kids around here, and Manning and his little brother, and it's actually a couple of the local kids are moving around, so I'll be heartbroken, but so joyful. Diana, thank you so much for having me. This has been fun, and it's nice to see all these
I'm
people.
so grateful. I'm so grateful to you. I'm so grateful to you. I didn't cry, and I could have cried. But hopefully we can continue the conversation in the future, maybe with Tim, maybe with Major. I continue to grow and learn literally every time I hear you speak. I really do, and I'm so grateful for you. I really am.
All right. There's still time to cry, you know that, right?
Well, it's coming. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's coming.
Yeah. Tears of gratitude. I get that. And in the beginning, when you started talking, I think I had to hold them back too, because I forget sometimes. Stay open to all the things, but I forget sometimes how powerful that connection is and what it means. And that's what sort of can almost bring me to tears sometimes too, is that if we don't allow ourselves those moments of gratitude, then what is the point of all this growth? I don't look at life anymore. Well, I look at life differently now, in the sense that our career is not a trophy. The last thing I did is not a trophy. And the things that you do and the milestones that you have, yes, you can put them up in here and look at them and take a picture and look at them for a while, but don't stay looking too long. Make space for new trophies and new photos. Keep evolving, keep growing. I mean, that would be my only advice leading into 23, is be open to growth. Don't hold on to things that don't serve you. Don't hold on to things too long because you can't take them with you when you're gone anyway. But honor the people around you. Be open to anything and everything being a source of wisdom and energy. So, God, I sound like a bloody hippie. I can hear my father.
Oh
What?
my God, I love it. Bring it, bring it, bring it, baby. I love everything. For anyone who's coming on late, don't worry. I'm going to post it. So much gratitude to you and everyone that came on. I'm not able to wave and talk. So I see you. I see you, Major. I see you, Tim. And I'm so grateful for everyone that came on in their afternoon, their morning, whenever. To be continued. I like that. To be continued.
Love that. All right, Dana. Thank you so much, and just thank you to everyone who's joining us. I hope that you're doing okay. I know that just it's been a tough few years. It doesn't matter what way you frame it. We are all moving forward, and we all have the potential for growth. So big love.
All right. As Chef leaves, don't jump off. I'm going to wrap it up. But everyone say bye to Chef and hang in
See
for a
ya.
minute for me. I'm going to wrap it up. Love
Bye,
you.
guys. Love you too. Bye, guys.
Hang in there. Oh, you're all there. So he's saying goodbye, and I'm going to wrap it up with a huge, huge hug for all of you that were checking in. People who knew Chef, people who knew me, people who didn't know anyone. I appreciate he's still not able to get out, but we see him going around. But I am so grateful for this 1 hour of incredible conversation about things that really matter. Major, I'm so sorry. I think it was the powers that be, bigger than Jason and I, that really wanted Jason and I to have the platform alone. And next time we'll have Tim on, we'll have Major, we'll make it a party. But I did try to get you on, Tim, and I did try to get you on, Major, but it just did not happen. And all I can say is Chef Jason is so right. It's really about that magical word, growing, grow. How can you, in any moment of your life, whether you're crushing it or whether you're having a bump in the road, how can you find a way to grow, even if it's just a tiny, tiny bit? Every little tiny bit adds up to more bits, to more bits. And it's how we become who we're meant to be when we get in this wonderful thing called life. And I am in a really great period of growing. I call it my big girl panty moment. I am doing things that I've never done before. I'm just jumping and diving into it. And I'm loving every bit of it. So Chef Jason is still going round and round, but he's not here. He's in Australia, and I'm in New York. So I say goodbye whenever I come in. I come in with a song, and when I leave, I go out. I opened up with Sly Stallone, and I'm going to end with Everyday People, Arrested Development, because I believe we all should dance every day. Find a way to grow. Find a way to grow and to dance. And don't show your flabby arms. So grateful. I hope you're all dancing. Here comes the line. And everyday people, we're all everyday people. We all are everyday people. I love you all. Bye, Mom. Bye, Sharon. People.